Hello YouTube! Today we're doing a pretty cool tutorial in Adobe After Effects, and we will be going over how to do light and flicker expressions in After Effects. What's really nice about this is it's super customizable, and once you have it set up, again, you can change and edit it very easily without having to move several different keyframes, and that's really why loop expressions are so great. So we're going to start off with the most basic flicker, and then from there we can try out some different things. And I'm just going to start off in a new composition titled Flicker, and I'm going to grab some footage. And I did want to say that I will be trying to post weekly, but I am a little bit sick, so that's why I was a little late this week. But other than that, I'm going to create some pretty nice flickers today. And we're starting off with this as our footage, and let's say we want to have really quick strobe lights or something like that. Really fast flicker. The way we would do that is we'd start off with a new solid. So we're going to start off with a new solid, and the color that you select here is going to be the color of the flicker. So you can choose whatever you like. Right now we're going to start off with a dark flicker, just so that it's the most basic one. And now once we have that solid set up, we're going to add some keyframes. And we only need to set up one flicker, and that's why loop expressions are really nice. So we're going to set up one flicker. We're going to set this to 0, and we're going to go down a little bit and set another keyframe to 100, and we're going to go again and set another keyframe to 0. So this is just one flicker, and you can see right here the opacity goes to 100, and then it goes back to 0. And then once we have that set up, we can start working with expressions. So the way you do that is hold down Alt on your keyboard and select that stopwatch button right there. And once you have that selected, we're going to type in our expression, which is loop, all lowercase. Then with a capital O, you're going to type in out. We're going to throw in 2 brackets and our semicolon. So once you have that typed in, just select off the expression editor. And what it's going to do is it's going to continuously loop these keyframes all the way throughout our project. So all the way down. These keyframes will be repeated. So now if I were to preview through, it should be, let me just shut off the audio. It should be flickering, and that's looking pretty cool. But there are some things we can do to change and work with it to make it look a little bit better. So the first thing I will be talking about is how you can use the graphing editor to make it look better. So the first thing I did was I selected all the keyframes, I right-clicked one of the keyframes, and then I selected Keyframe Assistant, and then hit Easy Ease. So once you have those keyframes Easy Ease, we're going to go into the graph editor. So select this button right here. And there are 2 ways you can really change the graph to affect your flicker. And the first way is if you want a slower flicker, I think. Yeah. So the first one we're going to do is a slower flicker, and you're just going to set it up like this. And as usual, when I'm working in the graphing editor, I never really want to exaggerate this, so I will never pull this all the way to the top, because this isn't going to look very nice. I always want to have a nice sort of curve, so this is looking pretty good. What this is going to do is it's going to have a very slow jump from 0 to 100. The first jump is going to be very slow, so it only goes up to 12%, and the second jump is going to be very high, 55, and then at the end it's going to be a massive jump, so that's right here. And then whenever you set up one graph on one side, you always want to try to do the inverse, or for the most part you want to do the inverse on the other side to make sure that it is even and it looks really nice. So this flicker is going to be a little bit slower and a little bit lighter, so you're going to see less of the solid, and that looks pretty I gotta stop saying pretty. That looks cool. That looks nice. Once we have that set up, I'll show you guys how to do the other one. So let me just reset these keyframes. Alright, so we're back in the graphing editor, and the way that we're going to set this up now is the complete opposite. So we're going to move this over towards this side, slide this over, maybe around here, and then we want this to be the inverse, so we're going to pull this out so that this matches this, and then we want this to match this. So we're going to pull this out. Again, that's looking pretty good. And you can see that we're going to have a much deeper and a much stronger flicker. It's going to show the solid a lot more. So those are the two major ways that you can change the flicker with the graph editor. So once we have that set up, I'll show you what's really cool about this is, let's say our flicker is too fast, we can just move these 3 keyframes. And just like that, throughout the entire thing, it has changed the keyframes for us. So that's really, really nice and easy for us to use. The other thing that you can do is, if you want to change the color, so let's say, oh, I didn't really want a dark flicker, just go up into layer. Again, make sure you have your solid selected. So go to layer, solid settings, and change this color to whatever you like. So let's say you wanted a white flicker. You can set it up just like that. And that's how you would work with Expression Editor. The final thing I wanted to do is show you guys how you could use this with effects. So let's say, for instance, we're in, I'll do this as fast as I can. So one of the plugins I developed, or one of the presets I developed, was a rainbow color correction, which now I can realize you can do a lot easier with loop expressions, but back then I had no idea, so I just keyframed the entire thing. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can see I just keyframed it all the way down instead of using loop expressions, which takes a little bit more time, but it's the exact same result in the end. Anyway, the link for this preset will be in the description if you guys want to check it out. It is completely free, so let me just set this to, I think, overlay is the one. Okay, let me just set this to soft light. Alright, so let's say we have an effect set up and it's on our clip and we want the effect to flicker. You can add that to an adjustment layer, and then using the opacity of the adjustment layer, so I'll do this as quickly as I can. I'm going to do this the exact same as how we set up our last flicker. Easy ease those. We're going to go into our expression editor. Again, we're going to type in our expression, so loop out brackets semicolon. Alright, so anyway, I did set it up. I just changed the mode to screen, and this is how it ended up looking. Again, this is completely up to you. Not gonna lie, this hurts my eyes a little bit, but you know, maybe this is the effect you're looking for. Anyway, I think you guys understand how to use loop expressions, and hopefully this video helped you out a little bit. Again, I will be posting weekly content, so make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you guys for all the support. I'll see you around.